Table 8, Bulldogs has won the kickoff. They elect to receive. Leon Payne is the deep back. He recovers the ball at the 2, out to the 15, busted out right. He's got some moves, he's got some room. The 35, 40, 45, and knocked out of bounds at the 47-yard line, where Bulldogs will take over. First down and 10.
Great run there to start out the game by little man Leon Payne, showing his speed, and then he just puts down the helmet, takes the lick at the end. Good start for the Bulldogs Bobcats.
45 yards on the return as we take a look at the Bulldogs offense. They're led by wide receiver R.J. Anderson. Theo Cooper is the other wide out. Brian McGinnis, the tight end. Halfback Vontrell Mitchell will see some action, but the main man is Leon Payne, along with the fullback Jeff Carter and quarterback Doug Johnson in his junior year. The give is to Payne. Up the middle for about 3. It'll set up a second down and 7 as we're underway here in the first half of play.
Well, Mike, a couple of corrections to that starting lineup. Ricky Rimmert's getting a start at running back tonight. He rushed for 177 yards against Forest last week, so he's in there.
As you take a look at the offensive line, Johnson, Price, Talbot, Shane Goslinga is the catalyst, along with Brian McGinnis. Johnson gives it off to Rembrandt. Big hole on the left-hand side. He might have it all the way. 30, 25, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Bulldogs Bobcats. A 51-yard run by Ricky Rembrandt. And all of a sudden, with just 50 seconds elapsed in the game, we have ourselves a 6-0 lead.
Well, Mike, I hate to use cliches, but I'm going to use one here. My grandma could have run through the left side of that offensive line. That hole was so big. Ricky Rembrandt, with the speed, just burst right through there. Todd Fryer tried to catch him, but there was no way you were going to catch Ricky Rembrandt. He has 4.4 speed.
So the extra point will be attempted by Brad McCant. Low snap, the kick is up, and it is good. 7-0 our score. The Bobcats driving 53 yards in 2 plays, just 50 seconds, all set up by the big 47-yard kickoff return by Leon Payne. Mark, interesting move. Leon Payne, the second leading rusher in the area, and they're going ahead with Ricky Rembrandt. Just shows how deep this Bulldogs Bobcat team is.
Well, we saw Vontrell Mitchell start out the season. We thought he was going to break all kinds of records. He had a strong start, but in that Santa Fe game, Leon Payne came on. Then he rushed for 278 yards against Columbia. Now Ricky Rembrandt comes in, rushed for 177 last week against Ocala. So you see the guys there, they great yards per carry average. If you average that all together, Bulldogs is running for 10 yards a carry. Sets up that pass very well.
All 3 backs averaging over 9 yards a carry. That's a phenomenal statistic and a credit to the Bulldogs offense. The kickoff rolls out of bounds at about the 11, so the flag will be thrown, and Suwannee will have good field position at their own 35-yard line. Suwannee led by a couple of individuals. Wide receiver Todd Fryer, along with quarterback Willie Gardner. Also offensively for the Bulldogs, the flanker is David Lee, tight end Andre Davis. Yanasi, Bullard, Saylor, Fulton, and Gorbin compose of the offensive line. Tony Owens, the fullback, we'll mention his name quite a few times tonight, along with Rodney McClendon at the halfback spot. First and 10 for the Bulldogs. McClendon on the carry. He's well on his way to a first down, a pickup of about 16 yards.
Well, Mike, we talked about the Bulldogs running backs. Swani also has a 1-2 punch of their own. They have Tony Owens back there. Tony Owens already rushing for 501 yards on the season. Also McClendon doing a good job out of the backfield.
As you take a look at the offensive front, as I mentioned earlier, for the Suwannee Bulldogs, they have it first down and 10 at the Bulldogs 49-yard line. Gardner rifles one in, complete to number 25, Todd Fryer. Touchdown, Suwannee. Whoa. So Suwannee doesn't waste any time of coming right back. Both teams need just 2 plays to get their touchdowns, and like we said, Mark, this one has the potential to be an offensive showdown.
Mike, I think this is the game we've been waiting for all year. Everyone loves to see offense, and that's what we're going to see tonight. first couple of plays for both teams. Huge gains. Right now we're about to be tied up 7-7. Looks like a Western Athletic Conference kind of score coming for us.
Darren Lee is the kicker. He'll try to tie it up. High snap. The kick is up. And it is good. Not by much, but it is indeed good. And we have ourselves a tie ball game. Just a minute and 17 has gone by. Already we have ourselves a 7-7 score.
Well, both teams not shy on offense. That little crossing pattern over the middle to Todd Fryer. He gets out early, wanting to prove himself as the area's best receiver. We'll have to see what R.J. Anderson comes up with on this next series.
Indeed, it could go back and forth. Anderson is the leading receiver in the area. Todd Fryer is not too far behind. As we mentioned earlier, Fryer is the younger brother of a man who knows a little bit about catching balls, Matt Fryer, who played 4 years at Florida State after a star-studded career with the Suwannee Bulldogs. So we await the kickoff here. The sign by the special team captain, and there they go. High kick sends Derek Harris all the way back to the goal line. He'll take it out. Breaks a tackle at the 20, 25, and slips and falls at about the 28-yard line. And that's where Buchholz will take over, first down and 10. As you take a look at the defensive front for the Bulldogs, Shane Wheeler, Lee Corbin, and Thaddeus Bullard, along with James Sellers and Andre Davis, composed of the 5-man front. And there you take a look at the linebackers and secondary core.
A quick look at that.
Very rapid look indeed. First down and 10. We're still over 10 minutes to go in the first quarter. Rembert around the left-hand side. He's got some daylight. He's got a lot of daylight. Cuts back at the 45 and gets nailed down low by Bubba Harris. Otherwise, he might still be running as we speak. But a first down for Buchholz as they continue to drive with ease.
Ricky Rembert finding a lot of holes there on the left side, and he bounced it out to the left sideline, picked up a lot of good yards on that play. Mike, I believe he already has about 60 yards rushing in this game.
I'm telling you, this one looks like it could be a stat builder for both teams. And Leon Payne is now in the ball game. Payne, one of 3 senior tailbacks for the Buchholz Bobcats. The pitch is to Payne around the left-hand side. Payne wrapped up there, though. Good pursuit by the Suwannee Bulldogs. Willie Gardner leading the way.
Leon Payne looking for that burst of speed to go to the outside. He got wrapped up by Willie Gardner. Someone actually came in late there and got a good shot in on Leon Payne. I'm surprised he didn't throw a flag.
So Gardner showing, in addition to being fine quarterback for the Bulldogs, and we'll give you some more stats on that later, also a good defensive back in just his junior season. Payne is still in the ball game, along with the fullback,
Jeff Carter.
Number 31, Jeff Carter. Payne on the carry. He'll pick up about 3 yards. It'll bring up a 3rd and long for Buchholz as Doug Johnson gets the call from his head coach, George Dean. Dean in his 5th season, winning the state title in 1991. And there you take a look at Leon Payne, a fan favorite, 5 feet tall. That's right, that's not a misprint. 5 feet tall, 135 pounds, 814 yards on the ground, averaging over 10 yards a carry. And perhaps the most impressive stat, the man can bench press over 300 pounds. On the 3rd down, the pass is caught by Jeff Carter, but short of a first down. So Suwannee will bring in the nickel defense, but it appears as if Buchholz is going to punt the ball. Brad McCants is the punter, but you have to be aware of the fake with him because McCants can do it all. He punts, he kicks, he runs the ball, and is also a fine tight end for the Bobcats. McCants punting the ball from the 45 of Suwannee. Takes a bounce at the 12, and they're going to let it roll at about the 15-yard line, where the Bulldogs will take over 1st and 10 with 7:47 still remaining in the first quarter of play. Our score is 7-all.
Well, Mike, it's going to be interesting to see how Buchholz and their defense changes up on this series of downs. They've had a few changes back there in the defensive backfield. Vontrell Mitchell has moved over to cornerback to add some stability and speed over there. And also Derek Harris, who has 2 interceptions on the season. So I look for them to make some defensive adjustments and try to shut down Todd Fryer, because that was just too easy for them on the last series.
Derek Harris, one of the best secondary men you'll see. The younger brother of current Gator Mike Harris. 1st and 10, Gardner hands it off on the play to number 44, Rodney McClendon. McClendon picks up a couple. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 8.
Like we said, Mike, Swani can do it both ways. They go with the rushing attack and through the air. Rodney McClendon had some nice runs over the middle already in this game.
McClendon, you'll see him along with the fullback Tony Owens. They have a flanker in David Lee, but the main man, as we said earlier, number 25, Todd Fryer, at the slot end spot. Handoff up the middle. Tony Owens, the fullback, toughs out a couple of yards. It'll set up a 3rd down and long for Suwannee.
Well, the Buchholz Bobcats defense looking to not give up the big play, but they've already done that once tonight. It's a very important down right here. It's 3rd down.
Well, the scoreboard is a little mixed up right now, but appears to be about 3rd and 4. Gardner back to pass. Looking, and a great catch by Mr. Fryer. A jumping catch at about the 31-yard line, where Swani will take over 1st down and 10.
Willie Gardner just showed me that he has a gun right there, Mike. He just rifled that ball into the receiver. Good hands. I don't know if I could have held on to that one.
Gardner indeed has a rifle. 6'2", 185 pounds. He's just a junior. And Todd Fryer, the senior receiver, is without question his main target. And already Fryer's got 2 passes, including a touchdown. As we have our first mandatory water break here, with 6 minutes to go in the first quarter of play. Perhaps give us a chance to look at some of the area's leaders in various categories, which we all look forward to. There you take a look at the leading passers, and we've got a couple of them in tonight's ball game. Willie Gardner of Suwannee, well ahead of the pack there, passing for over 1,000 yards. You can add another touchdown there. He's now got 8. Jeff McCool of Palaca, we saw him last night. Doug Johnson of Buchholz performing tonight, and the kid, David Reeves, over there at PK Young, also performing very well. 1st down and 10 for Suwannee. Shotgun formation. 4 wideouts for the Bulldogs. Gardner back to pass. It's a screener, and it's caught to Tony Owens, the fullback, and he scampers down before getting nailed out of bounds by Arkhill Stark at about the 46-yard line. Okay, so that'll set up a 1st and 10. Let's go down to the field for our own Ivan Gatewood. Ivan.
Thanks, guys. The showdown between R.J. Anderson and Todd Fryer could be over quick. Todd Fryer may not be coming back into this game. His shoulders hurt really bad. They don't know if it's a dislocated shoulder or if it's a pinched nerve somewhere around the neck area, but he can't lift his arm above his shoulder area, so he may not return to this game, guys.
Wow, what a big loss that would be. Todd Fryer, as the give is to Rodney McClendon around the right-hand side, but good pursuit by the Buchholz defense. Brad McCant's in on the stop. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, Brad McCant's all over the field. He can play all those linebacker / defensive backfield positions for the Buchholz Bobcats. Also, Lee Earl Williams doing a good job there in on the tackle.
Todd Fryer, as we just heard from Ivan Gatewood, currently out of this ball game. Apparently some kind of pinched nerve or something of that matter. It must have been on that leaping catch that he made earlier. Hasn't really taken a hard hit yet. 1st and 10 for Suwannee. Gardner back to pass. He's got a man wide open. That's Andre Davis. And Davis gets upended at about the 27, where Suwannee will have another 1st down.
Both of these teams very sophisticated offenses, Mike. It's kind of a good relief after some of the offenses we've seen earlier this year. Both teams showing that they can throw the ball in the air. And Willie Gardner, once again, a gun.
He does indeed have a rifle. Impressed me early on so far. Quick release, tight spiral. You can't ask for more than that. Again, shotgun formation for Suwannee. Gardner, he's got a man wide open over the middle. Cuts at the 10, 5, touchdown Bulldogs. Number 8, David Lee on the reception.
Mike, just a simple little crossing right over the middle. These defensive players for Buchholz, I guess just missing assignments there. Willie Gardner spotted David Lee right away, and nothing but green towards the end zone.
Boy, I tell you what, this Suwannee offense picking apart a very talented Buchholz defense. Shotgun formation, they know it was coming, but nothing you could do. Extra point, and it was blocked and off to the left, so that could be critical. Although I have a feeling this game has a lot more scoring to go, so won't be a factor early on here, as Suwannee now leads at 13-7 with 4:44 to go, still left in the first quarter. That's right, we still have 3.5 quarters to go here. Been very exciting early on. Todd Fryer and Ricky Rembert both scoring long touchdowns for their respective teams. And now Suwannee counters with a 48-yarder to David Lee to go up 13-7.
Well, I think Buchholz saw something on that extra point there. The last extra point that Suwannee attempted was a little low. It just barely made it through the uprights. I think they put a little extra pressure on that one and were able to get in there and block it. But, Mike, you have to believe the way these offenses are going, 2-point conversions later in the game won't be a problem.
Definitely, this game is not going to come down to an extra point. Derek Harris recovering it at the 11-yard line. He's got a seam and goes down by a host of Bulldog special teamers at about the 38-yard line, where Buchholz will take over, first down and 10.
Well, we haven't called R.J. Anderson's name yet. He hasn't gotten his first reception. I talked to him earlier this week, and he was very, very excited about this matchup with Todd Fryer. He really wants to prove himself in this game and show everyone that he is the receiver to be dealt with in this area.
Well, Anderson, a severe competitor from what we've gotten talking to him, and indeed, there's a little bit of a personal battle going on. Doug Johnson gives it off to Rembert. Rembert still on his feet, refusing to go down, and he'll be close to a first down at about the 48.
Well, Mike, Rembert, no stranger to these Suwannee Bulldogs. Last year, he rushed for 55 yards on only 13 carries against Live Oak in a 21-7 loss. Of course, Buchholz had a couple players out of that game, Ted Bullard and Damon Wimmerly, so Ricky Rembert stepped up last year and rushed for 55 yards, and he's doing good here already. He's surpassed that total.
Rembert, also his younger brother on the team, Walter Rembert. He's just a sophomore. Should be interesting how he turns out. First down and 10 for Buchholz. Clock running now, under 4 minutes to go in the first quarter of play. Johnson tries to draw the D off sides. They're not fooled. Gives it off to the Sam backer, and he fumbles the football, and Suwannee recovers it.
Jeff
Carter on the fumble. And there we have our first turnover of the game. Hey, let's go down to the field. Our own Jason Alpert's got something for us. Jason.
Hey guys, I talked at the beginning of the game how Leon Payne and Vontrell Mitchell had to have big games for Buchholz to win. Looks like Leon Payne at 5'0" isn't the only small running back on this team who can make the move of the ball. George Dean's gone with a much bigger back, the 5'8" Ricky Rembert, who's gotten most of the carries tonight, including a 45-yard touchdown run on that first drive of the game.
Thank you, Jay. Indeed, depth on the Buchholz backfield, a great strength, as the officials call a timeout. You know, Mark, the only negative, if you could find a negative with having 3 outstanding running backs, is that all 3 of them are seniors, so Coach George Dean will have to do some rebuilding next year at the running back spot.
Yes, he will. He's having to take Vontrell Mitchell now and put him at the cornerback position, which is another positive, though.
Gardner completes the pass on first down and 10 to Chad Day. Day gets popped on the play. Number 5, Chris Johnson, the defensive back, leveled him. before Day picked up about 5 yards.
You know, Mike, something that Bulldogs is going to have to be concerned with is these Swani wide receivers are getting open every single play, and Willie Gardner has the awareness to find them.
Chad Day with the reception. That is the 4th receiver already to catch a pass for the Bulldogs, so they're mixing it up very well. This time the run by McClendon around the left-hand side. Should be close to a first down. And it is indeed a first down. Suwannee with a fine mixture of run and pass, much like Buchholz. They have over 1,000 yards rushing and receiving so far this season.
Very impressed, like you said, Mike, with the mixture they're showing. It's keeping Buchholz off guard. Buchholz not able to pin their ears and go after the quarterback here because they don't know what to expect.
Indeed, they're running the run and shoot offense right now. Give on the play is to Owens. He runs around the right-hand side, picks up about 4 on 1st and 10. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 6. The Buchholz Bobcat defense looks a little stunned at this point, Mark.
Well, they do not need to give up a touchdown here because that would put them down 2 touchdowns. And in a shootout, you always want to kind of try to stay even. That's the obvious goal. So they need a big defensive stand here, maybe a turnover, because that Jeff Carter fumble in the last series was big.
2nd down, 6 yards to go. Again, shotgun formation for Willie Gardner and company. Gardner back to pass. He's got all kinds of time. Completes it to Chad Day, who avoids a tackler and is finally wrapped up on the play by Chris Johnson out at around the 21-yard line. What'll be another first down.
Mike, I just don't understand how these wide receivers are so wide open. It's something you usually don't see in high school football. It's very interesting to see all these passes going to the receivers. I was talking to Buell's defensive coordinator Gunnar Paulson before the game, and last year when they played Live Oak, their defensive backfield was kind of in a prevent kind of defense because they had a lot of injuries, and it's kind of looking like that tonight, the way they're playing these wide receivers.
Well, you know, this is the 4th game we've had the pleasure of doing the Buchholz Bobcats, and I have yet to see a team, and they've played some good ones, including the Santa Fe Raiders, who have a very good offensive attack, and I've not seen the Buchholz Bobcat defense been dominated like this so far as they have been early on in this contest. Gardner again going shotgun formation. Back to pass. A little bit of pressure. He's got a man, and it's caught for a touchdown. Suwannee. Rico Ellis becomes the 5th wide receiver to catch a pass so far tonight, and that puts up the Bulldogs up 20-7.
Mike, I am very impressed once again with this offense. They set up a little different. They have their offensive line spread out, and I think that's throwing off the Buchholz defense. Is something they've never seen before. They're used to playing against run-oriented offensive teams in the city like Gainesville and Eastside. Swani comes into town, they're able to pass the ball, and they're kind of stunned right there, Mike.
Boy, Mike Pittman really looks like he's got a fine offensive game plan. I haven't seen anything like it so far this season. You've got 3 or 4 wideouts on virtually every play. The offensive linemen very spread far apart, and they're going to go for 2 here. Gardner hands it off. Number 5, Tony Owens, but he doesn't get in. So the score will remain 19-7. About the only plus the Buchholz defense can claim so far is that they've managed to stop 2 conversions, 1 on an extra point and 1 on a 2-point conversion. So 19-7 is our score. Still a minute 25 left in the first quarter.
Mike, I think it's time that Doug Johnson and these Buchholz Bobcats start to test the Swani secondary, because they're going to need to put some points on the board real quick here.
Well, Johnson hasn't gotten heated up yet. Neither has wideout R.J. Anderson. It's been all on the ground so far for Buchholz, and they've done a fine job. But the fumble again proving crucial. Buchholz will have to see if they can bounce back here.
And of course, we'd like to thank that man that just came by and knocked all of our cords off the table. He's a good guy, and we love him for doing that.
Yeah, we appreciate making our job that much more difficult. Leon Payon on the return from the 8 and goes down at about the 32-yard line, where Buchholz will take over. Mark, I was talking earlier about head coach Mike Pittman of the Suwannee Bulldogs, and virtually every game we've seen so far, with the exception of maybe Santa Fe, who can light it up through the air when they need to, virtually every high school team has been predominantly a running attack, but this Suwannee Bulldog team, just incredible passing game.
Well, the closest thing Buchholz has seen to this was Ocala Vanguard and Dante Culpepper. Otherwise than that, it's been all run, run, run. And, you know, if your defense is geared to stop the run, and a Swani team comes out here and is able to light it up in the air, it's a tough task for your defensive players to adjust to.
Ricky Rembert stuffed up the middle on the play for no gain. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. Of course, Mark, you take a look at the Bulldogs, and it seems like they're moving the ball with ease. Why don't more high school coaches elect to go with this kind of offense?
Well, I don't know. I have a feeling that eventually it will evolve in that way. You've got coaches like Steve Spurrier, and then you see the coaches underneath him. They're going to get their experience at the high school level. So I think eventually it's going to evolve to that, because the wave of the future is through the air, without a doubt.
2nd down and 10 for the Bobcats. Doug Johnson looking, throws it complete in the flat at the 50 and wrapped up at about the 45-yard line. Lee Earl Williams, the junior tailback, on the reception. Penalty flag is on the play, and for the Buchholz Bobcats, that's usually not a good sign.
Well, it's farther down the field, but I believe they have called. What is the call there, Mike? Was it holding?
Well, the officials haven't given the signal yet, but it looks like they're backing it up. The preliminary word is that it's a clipping call, so that'll back up the Bobcats to the 40-yard line.
Not what you want to see, Mike. We've seen too many of those kind of plays hurt Buchholz this season. They've had some big plays to R.J. Anderson negated earlier in the season against Santa Fe. Penalties absolutely killed them. Well, I think they can't afford it here tonight.
They certainly can. You know, in the 3 games that we've done, I think Buchholz has averaged just about double digits in penalties, and you can't expect to get away with that and pull out a victory. I don't care how much talent you have to limit mistakes, and that includes penalties and turnovers. Buchholz already has some of those tonight as the end of the first quarter stops play. Our score, the Suwannee Bulldogs 19, the Buchholz Bobcats 7. Buchholz will have a 2nd down and long when we come back right after this. So they'll try to continue this drive, 1st and 10 from their own 43-yard line.
Mike, that's a play we've seen all year from the Buchholz Bobcats. Very successful for them. Just a simple quarterback draw over the left guard. Doug Johnson has been able to pick up 3 yards all season long on that play.
Indeed, that has been one of their bread and butter plays so far this season. No one on the defenses that we've seen has given Doug Johnson any credit for his scrambling ability, but he can run. Leon Payne around the left-hand corner makes a juke, a nifty move, and out of bounds at the 39 of Suwannee. Mark, that's the kind of moves this kid can bring.
Leon Payne, just an exceptional running back, a fan favorite here at Citizens Field, and why not? He's 5 feet tall, but you know, no matter what size he is a great running back. He's able to pop out and then, you know, just kind of look behind his, hide behind his offensive line, and then he can pop out and just hit the corner, and he's got all that speed, and before you know it, he's gone.
Well, at 5 feet tall, he can hide under any offensive lineman, any running back or fullback for that matter, so usually takes the defense a while to figure out who's got the ball, and by the time they do, Leon Payne's already 5 yards down the field. 1st down and 10. This time they give us to Rembert. He's got plenty of daylight around the left-hand side before being knocked out of bounds at the 30-yard line. So Rembert and Payne have picked up the rushing load so far. Buchholz has not had any problems on the ground. They've yet to complete a deep pass yet, and they've yet to complete one to R.J. Anderson. But Leon Payne has indeed.
Every running back put their mind to it. I'm quite sure they could do it. You know, I take my game very seriously, and I just go out there and do it. You know, by me being short, it probably helps me a little more.
Well, I know Leon didn't mean to interrupt me there, but he does bring up a good point. He uses his size to his advantage and doesn't let it get him down. Fumble on the snap by Doug Johnson. He recovers it and gets wrapped up on the play. It'll bring up a 2nd down at about 9. The ball lunged forward for a few feet, so they actually get a yard out of the play, but all things being equal, I think Doug Johnson would rather have that one over. As the man we just spoke of, Leon Payne, comes back in the game along with Sam Mitchell, the Sam backer slash fullback.
Actually, Jeff Carter.
Sam Mitchell.
I don't know where that came from, Mike, but Sam Mitchell.
He's a good player in his respective district. Unfortunately, not in this one. Leon Payne around the right-hand side, explodes, breaks a tackle, another tackle before going out of bounds inside the Suwannee 10.
Leon Payne just showing a great ability to break tackles. I don't know if I could tackle a little guy like that. I don't know where the best part to grab him would be. You know, you try to grab him up top, he's going to duck down underneath you, try to grab his legs. He's just going to run right past you and high step all the way to the end zone.
I guess you just lay on the ground and hope you can grab one of his feet, maybe steamroll him or something of that nature. But you're right, he's very hard to tackle at that size, and with his low center of gravity, he's got as good a moves as any back we've seen. First and goal from the 8-yard line. Penalty flag on the play. This could be another one on Buchholz as Doug Johnson pleads his case to the official, but I don't think the official's going to buy it.
Well, Mike, Jeff Carter jumped a little early on that one. He didn't know the snap count. Actually, he jumped twice. I think the referee caught him both times. That's the second mental mistake we've seen tonight from Jeff Carter. He's one of the leaders of this team. Surprises me he comes out here. He might be a little nervous on senior night, trying to impress the Citizens Field crowd.
Boy, you know, like I said, this is the 4th game we've done with Buchholz, and they remind me a lot of a team down the road, the Florida Gators, and the fact that they are very talented offensively, but kill themselves time and time again with mistakes.
Well, the Buchholz Bobcats, early in the season, the offensive line had a few problems jumping off sides, and they've been doing a great job tonight, opening some good holes for the running backs. But right there, Jeff Carter hurts this drive and moves them back 5 yards.
So first and goal now. The ball is outside the 10. The give. And he's tripped up just outside the 10. That was number 20, Theo Cooper, actually a receiver on this team, so a bit of a end around.
Well, we can make another little comparison to the Florida Gators. A little Jack Jackson play, just come in motion and hand it off to your wide receiver, see if he can't pick up some yards over left guard.
I've seen Jack Jackson, I've seen Theo Cooper. Theo Cooper's no Jack Jackson, but regardless, it's first and 10 for Buchholz, actually second down and goal. Payne around the right-hand side and nothing doing. Swani had 4 defenders stacked up there. So it'll bring up a 3rd and goal. The scoreboard is still a little bit slow on the down markers there, but that's okay.
Well, Mike, we have to wonder if Vontrell Mitchell is going to see some action at the running back position tonight. We've seen Leon Payne as well as Ricky Rembert. Vontrell Mitchell, the #1 man coming into the season. Right now he's 3rd string, but he's over there contributing on defense, so Buchholz coaches have to be happy with his attitude.
Well, it just comes a point where you got to put your ego in your back pants pocket and go out there and suit it up anyway. 3rd and goal. Doug Johnson rolling out right. He's got a man, and it's a touchdown, Jeff Carter. And how fitting that is to atone for the fumble and the penalties early on. They go to Carter and stick with him, and that'll help build up his confidence, and we're back in 1913.
Jeff Carter, an important element to this team. He's one of the senior leaders. You had to know he'd overcome those early mistakes. Of course, he got the nickname last year, the gritty, gutty Jeff Carter, by our own Michael McKnight, who's moved on. So he just atoned himself for those mistakes.
Brad McCant skies the extra point up and good. That makes it a 19-14 ball game, so maybe those extra points will come into play after all.
That's just the kind of drive Buchholz needed right there. They needed to get right back on the scoreboard, pull this thing a little closer. Swani came out with 3 touchdowns on their first 3 drives. The fumble by Jeff Carter put Buchholz behind a touchdown, but now they've come right back and scored.
8:46 remaining in the first half, and looking down there at Coach George Dean, he's trying to fire his defensive troops up there, giving them a little pep talk. They're going to need to stop this Bulldog offense if they hope to have a chance at winning this ball game.
Well, Mike, talking about the Buchholz Bobcats, they have to be the best team in the area that's not going to make the playoffs. It's kind of devastating to this group. They have a very strong team this season, but unfortunately the 3 teams they've lost to, Santa Fe, Vanguard, and also Palatka, they have a combined 21-1 record, so not an easy schedule.
Kickoff gets in the end zone and out of bounds. A great kick by R.J. Anderson, who is a star soccer player for the Bobcats, and it paid off right there, Mark.
Yes, R.J. Anderson originally came here to play soccer, but first, forget about what I was saying. Let's look at the standings here.
As you take a look at the District 4 5A standings, the teams above Buchholz, they've lost to both of them on the road, but albeit Palatka and Ocala Vanguard, they're 15-0 combined. Buchholz 4-3. Gainesville and Ocala Forest rounding off the district at 1-6 and 2-6 respectively.
Well, that's a nice way to put it, rounding off.
Maybe I was being a little bit kind right there. As the pass is complete and plenty of room for Tony Owens, who's finally dragged out of bounds inside the 40-yard lines. Gardner threw another strike. And again, Buchholz just does not have an answer to this run and shoot offense.
Well, Mike, going back to the kickoff, we were talking about R.J. Anderson showing his leg. You mentioned that he's a star soccer player for the Buchholz Bobcats. He came over from Valrico Bloomingdale High School to play soccer here at Buchholz, but now he's a converted wide receiver and doing pretty good, thank you very much.
Mark, I know one of your favorite terms, he's a legitimate
Division I prospect. Exactly.
1st and 10, Gardner again, the shotgun. He's got some heavy pressure and the ball is incomplete. Jeff Carter was in his face on the blitz, and Gardner took a shot by Carter, and he's shaken up on the play. And you hear some of the Buchholz fans applauding. Certainly they don't want to see this young man get hurt, but they know that would definitely increase their chances of winning the ball game if they could knock Gardner out of there.
Well, if you can't stop him, knock him out, and that was the philosophy there by Jeff Carter. Jeff Carter flying all over the field in the last couple of plays, looking to step up here on senior night at Buchholz High School.
Well, sometimes it takes a couple of miscues to fire yourself up, and Carter with the fumble and the penalty comes right back, gets the touchdown, and puts a shot on Willie Gardner.
Well, I like this call here by Mike Pittman. He calls timeout for the Suwannee Bulldogs. This is going to give a chance for Willie Gardner to recuperate and get those stars from flying around his head so he can call the right plays on the next series of downs.
And that'll give us time to take a look at the area's leading receivers. R.J. Anderson has yet to catch a pass tonight, but still a long way to go. 22 receptions for 179 yards. Mr. Versatility, Robert Baker out of P.K. Young. Only 15 receptions, but he makes the most out of them with a 22.7-yard average. Todd Fryer, we saw what he could do early on. We'll have to get another injury report, see if he's going to come back tonight. Josh McKinley of Palatka, along with Suwannee's own fullback, Owens. Tony Owens, that is. 1st down and 10 for the Bulldogs. Gardner, he's got some time, throws it, complete. That's Rico Ellis on the play. And Rico will have another 1st down for Suwannee as they continue to move the chains. Let's go down to the field. Our own Ivan Gatewood's got something for us. Ivan, take it away.
Thanks, guys. We're getting a look at one of the better quarterbacks in the state in Willie Gardner. I talked to some of the coaches on the Suwannee sideline. They say he's the number 2 ranked quarterback as a junior in the state of Florida. Now, I hate to see he's number 1 because this guy's playing a fantastic game. Also, Todd Fryer is out with a mild separation of his shoulder. He probably will not return. And I asked Willie Gardner who's going to throw the ball to. He said, whoever's open. Send it back to you guys.
That would be everyone.
That would be everyone so far tonight.
Oops.
Todd Fryer, their star wide receiver, and that is a big loss. We hope he's okay, but it appears as if he will not return. So much for the big showdown between Fryer and Anderson. Anderson hasn't caught a pass, and Fryer doesn't look like he'll return, but it really hasn't mattered so far for Suwannee because seems like they've got plenty of weapons out there and haven't had trouble finding guys open.
Well, with Fryer out, you got guys like David Lee, Rico Ellis, and Chad Day. They're ready to step up, and they've all caught balls already in this game. So I don't think they're going to suffer too much with Todd Fryer out of this game.
Gardner hands it off on the right-hand side to Tony Owens, the fullback. Owens picks up about 8 yards. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 2. So Suwannee's got it going through the air. They've got the ground game going. They just appear to be unstoppable right now.
Swani showing they can do it both ways. That's the sign of a very, very good team. I expect this team to go on far in state. Possibly, you know, they are in Class 4A. We could possibly see a showdown between these Suwannee Bulldogs and John Carter Santa Fe Raiders.
Also the Palatka Panthers, a team that we saw last night. 1st down and 10 for the Bulldogs. Gardner hands it off to Owens. Big hole. Picks up another block. Bounces out over to the 16-yard line. So again, Suwannee continues to move the chains. The chain gang getting a little bit tired out there. It seems like every play they got to run 10 yards.
Yes, they are, Mike, and another bad sign for this Buchholz defense. A lot of them are shrugging their shoulders and they're holding on to their hips. They're tired right now in the secondary. Guys like Derek Harris and those guys back there are having to make a majority of the tackles, which is not a good sign.
Yeah, Buchholz, too much Derek Harris, Chris Johnson, and Vontrell Mitchell making tackles. As this time they shut him down. Owens has no place to go up the middle. It'll bring up a 2nd down and long for Suwannee, a scenario which they've haven't had to contend with so far much tonight.
Well, Mike, with the tailback situation at Buchholz, so much talent there. Lee Earl Williams, number 35 for Buchholz, came in really low on the depth chart as far as the tailback is concerned. He switched over to defense since we've last watched this team play, and he's doing an excellent job. He's been in on a lot of tackles tonight.
Well, Vontrell Mitchell's just a fine athlete. He's one of those guys you can put at virtually any position. He's going to get something done for you. Gardner looking deep. He's got a man. It's caught, and it's incomplete. They say, did he drop it or was he out of bounds? Well, perhaps both. The pylon's still down, but anyway, it'll bring up a 3rd down and long. But again, that pass right on the money by Willie Gardner.
Willie Gardner coming out here making no bones about it. He's going to throw the passes to his wide receivers. They've been open all night. I believe his first incomplete pass came on this series, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They keep passing the ball and it's working.
3rd down and long. The ball spotted at the 17-yard line of Buchholz. It's a draw play and 2 penalty flags thrown. They tried to draw to Tony Owens. Interesting call. The way they're passing the ball, you would think that would be a no-brainer. Just go ahead and throw it, but tried to shock the Buchholz defense, but instead they fool themselves with a false start penalty. That'll back it up 5 more yards. And a reminder to watch Cox Cable 8 Sports next Saturday as North Florida Christian meanders into Booster Field to take on Robert Baker and the PK Young Blue Wave. Coverage begins Saturday, November 5th at 7:30 and Monday, November 7th at 3 o'clock p.m. only on Cox Cable 8, your local sports leader. Gardner back to pass on 3rd and long, dishes it to Owens, and Owens ran out of bounds just inside the 10. Depending on where the official spots it, but no matter where he spots it, it's going to be short of a 1st down. And we'll see what Coach Pittman decides to do here.
Well, Mike, I'm very impressed the way that Swani, it's a different kind of formation what they do on offense. They line their tackles and their guards. They spread them out about 2 yards in between each, and Buchholz is having to spread their defense, and that's what's enabling a lot of these Suwannee Bulldog wide receivers to get wide open because they're really spreading out that offense.
4th down and goal at about the 11-yard line, and they will go for it. Interesting decision. A field goal here would put them up by 8 points. Buchholz showing blitz and another false start. Andre Davis, the tight end, got a little over anxious, and just about everybody in the stadium saw that infraction. So Suwannee losing a lot of ground here now with penalty flags. It'll bring up a 4th and goal from around the 16-yard line.
Despite the penalties, Mike, I think both these teams settling down a little bit here in the second quarter. It's not as fast-paced as what we saw in the first quarter. The scoring's down a little bit.
5 minutes to go in the first half of play. 4th down and goal for Suwannee. They lead at 19-14, and Gardner goes down. He throws the ball. It appeared to be off one knee. They're not going to call intentional grounding, though. Shane Goslingo was right in the face of the quarterback, Gardner. So Buchholz will take over. Let's go down to the field. Our own Jason Alpert's got something for us. Jason.
Mike, it looks like the Buchholz defense listened to their coach a little more. Defensive coordinator Gunnar Paulson was complaining the entire game, had veins popping out of his neck, saying, it's like taking candy from a baby what this quarterback is doing to us. Hey, Mike, might he be in the Halloween spirit with the veins and the candy?
I don't know, Jason, but certainly you are wearing that fine costume. Rembrandt around the left-hand side, breaking out over the 30, out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. Ricky Rembrandt already about 100 yards on the night. So Buchholz still has just under 5 minutes to go to actually take their first lead in the ball game.
Hey, they're going with what works. They've had it open there on the left side the entire ball game. Ricky Remmert's been able to pop it out with his speed, and it's working for him right now. And they're also alternating Leon Payne and Ricky Remmert, keeping a fresh set of legs at the running back position.
So that could be a factor later on. Buchholz shouldn't have to suffer from fatigue in the backfield. They've got plenty of guys to carry the load. Leon Payne is now back in there, along with Jeff Carter, the fullback. Payne gets the handoff, but no room to go. 75, Lee Corbin, the junior defensive tackle. He runs 6'2", 248 pounds, so he can put on a licking.
No relation to Tyrone Corbin, I hope.
Doesn't appear that way from this angle. 2nd down now, and about 9 yards to go for the Bobcats. Clock ticking away, under 4:20 to go here in the first half of play. 19-14 is our score. Johnson fakes it to Payne, looks the other side, he's got a wide open Brad McCants, jukes at the 40, the 30, he's got a block, 15, 5, touchdown Brad McCants! The Buchholz Bobcats have rallied and now have taken the lead.
Mike, that was one of the better play fakes we've seen all season. That set up that play entirely. Doug Johnson with a play fake to the running back. Hits Brad McCants over there on the left side. Theo Cooper didn't get into good block, but he touched the man just enough so Brad McCants could hit the outside and score 6 points for the Buchholz Bobcats. Nice play.
Yeah, Theo Cooper serving more as a shield than a blocker there for Brad McCants. And like you said, just enough of a touch to let McCants stroll in. And just as McCants gets 6 points, he'll try to make it the true 7 himself, and he does. Kicking the extra point through as Mr. Versatility continues to stake his claim. And Buchholz has rallied. Now they lead the ball game 21-19. Still 4 minutes to go in the first half of play.
Well, Mike, you gotta like the play calling there of offensive coordinator Bob Smith. Set everything up very well with the run, and then he goes to the play fake, finds Brad McCants wide open. He's been the secret weapon of this team all year. He's been wide open every game we've seen.
Well, the Suwannee defense was definitely fooled on that play. Leon Payne going right. All the linebackers bit. McCants came out from the tight end spot along the left-hand flat and had a lot of real estate to run the ball, and winds up giving Buchholz the go-ahead touchdown. As R.J. Anderson will kick it off again. He kicked the last one some 63 yards in the air. We'll see what he does this time. Kind of surprised that they haven't thought of using him as a kicker earlier.
That's what I was thinking, Mike. I'm surprised we didn't think of that. I mean, we could have suggested that.
Well, that's why we're not coaching, but and he kicks another one. About 64 yards in the air. Coach George Dean has got to be scratching his head right now. Why didn't we have this kid kicking early on?
R.J. Anderson, I mean, that one didn't even get any hang time. That was just a bullet straight through the air. It went over the Citizens Field hedges over there. In all my years of being out here at Citizens Field, I've never seen anyone kick it over the hedges.
Well, we made the official challenge to the kickers across the land a couple weeks ago. If anyone can kick a 30-yarder, they'll make our Cox Cable All-Prep Performers team. And R.J. Anderson, as you see, also a fine receiver, he might be just the guy to do it. Gardner gives it off. Up the middle, that's 44, Rodney McClendon, and McClendon has about 9-10 yards. He should be close to the first down. 21-19 our score. Suwannee will see if they can get one last strike, although the way these teams have been going with 4 minutes to go, we might see a few more touchdowns.
That's right, Mike. And, you know, we were talking about R.J. Anderson. You have to wonder if this game comes down to a field goal, which it well could. You know, Brad McCants is the short kicker. Maybe they'll bring in R.J. Anderson for a 35 or 40-yard field goal.
Should be interesting to see what it comes down to. First down and 10. Willie Gardner. Penalty flag on the play. He's got a wide open man, and he's going to go. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, David Lee. A 70, make it a 60-yard reception, but it could be all for naught as the Bobcats pointing at the Suwannee side. They say it's against the Bulldogs.
Lucky break for Buchholz. They've been on the wrong side of several penalties in the games we've covered, but right here, that penalty, that yellow flag saved them because Derek Harris slipped on that play. They had single coverage down there, and there was nothing but green pay dirt for that wide receiver right there.
Ineligible receiver downfield is the call. Gardner and company debate it with the official, but he doesn't seem to be easily influenced. As you take a look at Coach Pittman, he's quite upset about that, and well, he should be. You don't like to see a 60-yard touchdown reception be taken back.
Mike, it's been a long time since I've seen a quarterback with the efficiency and accuracy of Willie Gardner. I mean, that pass was right in the receiver's hands. I mean, all he had to do was stick him out there, and it was right there. These receivers for Swani have to be very fortunate, making a lot of them look like they're ready for the next level.
I'm going to tell you what, Mark. We've got 3:20 left to go in the first half. Willie Gardner has not thrown a bad ball yet, and he runs a run-and-shoot offense, so he's thrown plenty. He is easily, in my mind, the best quarterback that we've seen so far.
It's too bad we couldn't get a look at Dante Culpepper right here. He's a very fine quarterback. We saw him last year on Cox Cable. Willie Gardner showing his stuff here tonight.
Draw play up the middle, and he's got plenty of room. That's 44 McClendon. Just short of the 48-yard line. Suwannee another first down. The chain gang, they're going to have to get them an extra supply of water bottles over there. 3:12 and counting left to go in the first half of play. Suwannee trailing by 2, but moving the ball again, despite the services of Todd Fryer missing due to an injury. First and 10, shotgun formation, Willie Gardner. He's got 3 guys out there. Gardner looking deep, avoids the tackler, intended for David Lee, and it's caught! An incredible catch. Vontrell Mitchell was covering him like a blanket, but again, Mark, that ball right on the money.
I think this kid could throw it 70 yards in the air if he had to. That ball was a spiral all the way, then he hits his receiver, David Lee, on the fly. Great catch, but Willie Gardner, that ball was right there, Mike. I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
And when you say spiral, I mean a tight spiral. This kid has one of the prettiest looking arms that I have seen in quite some time for high school football.
This side of Jason Alpert, of course.
This side of Jason Alpert. First and 10, 2 minutes and 35 seconds and counting. Suwannee driving again. Gardner giving it off to Tony Owens, the fullback. Owens picks up about 3 on the play. It'll set up a second down and 7. So again, a fine mixture of run and pass. Coach Pittman knows how to confuse defenses, and he's doing it tonight.
Well, the Swani Bulldogs need to be careful here, Mike. I know it's a good situation that they can score pretty much at will, but they need to take some time off the clock because the Buchholz Bobcats can come right back down and score on them before the half ends.
Well, the clock is at about 2 minutes right now and running. No 2-minute warning in high school football, so we'll see how it turns out. As again, shotgun formation, 3 wide outs, 2 backs for Willie Gardner. Gardner throws a tight spiral again, and it's caught for a touchdown. Number 8, David Lee, the receiver this time, getting a gift, and another 6 points for the Bulldogs. It's 25-21 with the extra point pending.
Well, Mike, you're going to have to excuse me in a few minutes. I'm going to have to go give Steve Spurrier a call. He needs to come and check out this kid because, I mean, I have not seen a gun in high school football like this kid's arm. I mean, Willie Gardner has really impressed us here tonight.
I'm telling you what, I know it almost sounds as if we're throwing a wake here for Willie Gardner, but
I'm impressed.
I got to tell you, I am really shocked. This is the first time we've gotten to see this kid as the extra point. Actually, a 2-point conversion attempt is stopped by the official's whistle. It'll be a timeout for Buchholz as they want to think things over, but I've really yet to see a high school quarterback in any area with this kind of arm, and he's only a junior. It's amazing to think what this kid can do in another year.
Willie Gardner, I mean, yeah, it looks like we're singing his praises pretty high, but if you're watching this game along with us, or if you're in the stands here at Citizens Field, if you're a Buchholz fan or a Swani fan, you got to appreciate the talent on this kid. He's making this Buchholz secondary look like toast out here.
He is indeed, and again, just so people don't understand, Buchholz has a very talented defense. They are not a doormat by any stretch of the imagination, but they have just not been able to stick with this kid. A lot of these touchdowns, with the exception of maybe Todd Fryer's, the coverage has been virtually there. But again, if you throw it on the money, it's pretty hard, if not impossible, to defend.
Well, if you have if Aaron Carter was out here, Ed James was in the stands, they have to be licking their chops, man. I don't know what they would give to have a quarterback like this on their team, but if you have a guy who can put it right on the money to your receivers, hey, what more can you ask for? You can't stop that in high school football.
Indeed you can. So the 2-point conversion attempt here. Gardner rolling out left. Doesn't appear as if anyone's open. He's going to try to run it himself, and he is not in. Just short. Had to be inside the 1-yard line, but the officials didn't give it to him, so it's a 25-21 ball game. Suwannee only leading by 4 despite having an overall touchdown advantage. That could be crucial coming into the second half of play. We still have 1:41 to go here in the first half. And like you said, Mark, 1:41, that might be more than enough time for Buchholz to drive down the field, maybe set up a long field goal for R.J. Anderson, who appears to have the best leg that we've seen in a long time.
Well, Buchholz does have the ability to come down here and score. We'll have to see what their 2-minute offense can do here at the end of the first half, but it's very important if Buchholz can come down here and score. They can deflate Swani somewhat before the halftime.
25-21. We already have 46 points. Last night we had a 31-21 thrower between Eastside and Palatka. That was 52 points, for the most we've seen all season. Get the feeling that's going to be broken and then some tonight. Squibber is recovered by Rembrandt at the 20. He's got some running room at the outside. Picks up a great block on the play. And out to the 50, the 45, and down at the Suwannee 40-yard line.
I didn't catch the number there for Buchholz. Who was it that threw that block, Mike?
Aaron Davis, the junior defensive back. He goes 6'2", 188, and I'll tell you one thing, he put every ounce of those 188 pounds into that block. And a great, intelligent play. He could have easily done it behind the back, but he put a clean stick on, and that gives Buchholz great field position as the clock winding under 1.5 minutes to go here in the first half of play. Johnson calls the signal. Hands it off. It's a draw play to Payne, and he slips at the 35. Otherwise, he might have had some more yardage. The whole left side of the field was open, but they'll take the 5 yards and wind it back up. 2nd down and 5 with 1:16 to go and a timeout on the play.
We've seen that play, that draw play, work for Buchholz this season, and it works especially well when they have the running game going. They ran that play against Santa Fe successfully, and Leon Payne, like we said, he has the ability. When you do that draw play and you have a 5-footer back there, you don't know that he's getting the ball, and he's just going to squib right through that open hole in the middle.
Indeed, very hard to see Leon Payne about a foot shorter than just about every Suwannee defender. And when you run a draw play, and all that confusion going on, Leon could just sneak out of there, as he's done all season long. Second in the area in rushing.
I like that call,
Robert Baker.
I like that call, Mike. They have 3 timeouts. Why not go to the draw play?
Yeah, still plenty of time, Mark. 1:16, and Buchholz still has 2 timeouts remaining. Doug Johnson hits an open R.J. Anderson, his first reception, and Anderson wisely goes out of bounds at the 25-yard line. That'll stop the clock with 1:10 to go. So Buchholz now, they've still got plenty of time, a couple of timeouts. It's just a matter now of getting the ball in the end zone.
R.J. Anderson showing some good senior savvy there. He knew where the sideline was, and he kind of tiptoed over there and got out of bounds. They didn't have to waste one of their timeouts.
1st and 10. Anderson and Cooper are the wideouts. Johnson pump fakes, and he gets hammered by 2 Suwannee Bulldogs. Number 14. That's Shane Wheeler on the play, the 200-pound senior linebacker, and he put a stick in on Doug Johnson. Johnson gets back up. He's trying to hurry his troops. The official called the ball live. It's 2nd down and long for Buchholz. Again, Anderson and Cooper are the wideouts. Johnson going deep. He's looking for Anderson, and incomplete as it goes out of bounds in the end zone. The clock stops now with 37 seconds. It'll be 3rd and long for Buchholz, and mark that last sack on a couple plays before. Very bad for the Bobcats, because not only does it ruin their chances for a touchdown, but it might be enough to knock them out of field goal range.
Well, I think on that last play, George Dean and the Buchholz coaches tried to throw in that pump fake to try to throw off the defenders for Swani, and it didn't work. They didn't bite on it. Good job by the Bulldog defense.
You never want to bite on the play fake.
Oh, that's what Ivan says.
1st down and 10. 37 seconds to go. Johnson's got some running room. He's going to take it around the left-hand side. Picks up a great block by Leon Payne. Gets hit and out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Still 28 seconds to go. Good heads-up play by Doug Johnson. I'm not sure if that was a design play, but there was plenty of room on the left-hand side, and Leon Payne at a 5 feet, 135 pounds, picks up a great block to free Johnson.
Good job by Doug Johnson there. Shows the awareness. Picks up one of his big blockers there. Leon Payne was throwing the block. He popped it to the left side and got out of bounds. Smart play there by the Buchholz Bobcat quarterback.
1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. 28 seconds to go in the first half. Johnson looking right, rolls out right. He's got heavy pursuit, completes it to Anderson at the 14. He gets tripped up at the 5-yard line. And Buchholz rushing to the timeout. Well, they're rushing to the line of scrimmage, and Doug Johnson wisely thinks better of it. Well, does he call a timeout or not? The officials say 1st down. The clock is stopped at 19, and here we go. Johnson, he's got Payne in the backfield. Looking and throws it away. Wise move by Doug Johnson to stop the clock. It appears as if Buchholz must be out of timeouts right now. So 11 seconds left. It'll be a 2nd and goal from inside the 5-yard line.
Mike, they had to be out of timeouts. I don't see the Buchholz coaching staff making a mistake like that. They just, if they had some timeouts left and then they just throw that ball out of bounds, it's kind of worthless right there.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier I thought they had 2 timeouts. They must have had 1 left. So Doug Johnson doing a wise move by throwing it away there. Johnson back to pass, rifles one in, but it's incomplete. Intended for R.J. Anderson, and guess who broke it up? Willie Gardner on the defensive effort.
Willie Gardner, that's the 2nd play that we've seen that he's made just an incredible defensive backfield play. But, you know, a couple plays ago, I don't understand how Swani can leave R.J. Anderson so wide open. He just picked a spot, and Doug Johnson found him.
So it'll be a 3rd and goal right here. 8 seconds to go. The last thing you want here is a turnover. Buchholz can still get a timeout if they can't get it in right here. Johnson rolls out right, throws it, complete, touchdown Buchholz. Jeff Carter, his 2nd grab of the evening, and Buchholz regains the lead with just 3 seconds to go in the first half of play.
Mike, you got to wonder if these defenses showed up tonight, or is it just these offenses are so powerful? I mean, right now, I want to personally thank Patrick Bryant for scheduling this game, because this is a thriller right here. This is all the offense we've been wanting all season long.
Well, in the first game, Mark, I continually hyped up this game, and I told everybody that I was very excited. I really thought this would be a great matchup, and it's been that much, much more so far. We've already got 52 points on the board in the first half, and Buchholz is going to go for 2 here to try to make it a 4-point lead. That way, Suwannee cannot tie it with a field goal, so there's a stoppage of play. We'll see who and what called a timeout. Well, it might be a penalty. It is indeed a penalty, a delay of game. So that might change the Buchholz offensive strategy here, and indeed it will, as it looks like they're going to go. Well, maybe they're not. Yeah, they're going to go for the extra point now. So it'll be a 25-yard extra point. Not exactly a gimme. Brad McCants will be doing the kicking duties. The kick is up, and it is good. So 27, make it 28. 25 is the score here in the first half of play. It's been a barn burner here at Citizens Field. We still got 3 ticks left to go in the first half. But we couldn't ask for much more than we have right now, Mark.
Well, Mike, as offensive coordinator Bob Smith left the booth to go down on the field for the end of the second quarter, he said, hey, this is just like the Florida-Georgia game from last year.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the Florida-Georgia game, Mark, because the rains are really starting to pour right now. It was drizzling earlier in the pregame, but it's really coming down hard right now. And, of course, we've had our fair share of hydroplaning action there at Citizens Field, as the kick this time goes out of bounds. So they'll take it at the 35, and this will be a fine chance for Willie Gardner to show off his arm here with 3 seconds left. It's Hail Mary time.
We got to believe Mike Pittman, knowing the strength of Willie Gardner's arm, everyone here has seen it. Why don't they just line up 3 wide receivers on the right side and go for the Hail Mary, see what can happen, because I think this kid can throw it 60, 70 yards in the air if he's given time.
I wonder if they have a Cordell Stewart play in the repertoire there. Who could forget the Colorado miraculous reception to beat the Michigan Wolverines? Let's see if they do here. They might elect to just take a knee. Honestly, I hope they don't, because I really want to see how far Gardner can throw the ball right here. Prevent defense by the Bobcats. Gardner, he's got plenty of time. Waiting for the receivers to get downfield. Rifles a tight spiral, and it's caught but out of bounds at about the 25. So will do it for the first half of play. That last pass going 35 yards in the air. Looked pretty nice from this angle, actually 40 yards in the air. That's going to do it for the first half of play. The Buchholz Bobcats lead the Suwannee Bulldogs 28-25, as our sideline reporters are trying to get somebody down there to give a talk about this thrilling action of first half. Mark, just 2 explosive offenses here so far.
Well, they've given us plenty to talk about. Like I was saying, you have to wonder if these defenses are just having a bad night or what, but my feeling is that
Coach Dean, your defense struggled a little bit at the beginning, but your offense really powered them in the lead 28-25 at halftime. It looked like Doug Johnson took the leadership role there on the final drive to put you guys up. How important is his leadership to this team?
Well, it's very important right now. We're having to throw the ball and run the ball and just take advantage of what they're giving us. Right now, our defense is really having some problems, but I think we'll try to get some things straightened up at halftime, and maybe we can come out and do a little bit better job defensively. Offensively, doing a great job. Heck of a game. Everybody ought to be here.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Kickoff received by Owens inside the 5. He breaks it out to about the 27, where Swani will take over 1st and 10 as the second half is officially underway.
Well, Mike, it's no mystery. I think Willie Gardner's going to come out here and throw the ball. What do you think?
Gardner, and in case you're wondering, was 12 of 16 for 273 yards along with 3 touchdowns. We'll try to get some more stats for you. Of course, our own former statistician Chris Fickenshire is still under a contract dispute with the Cox Cable, so we hope he'll end his holdout and come back with us soon.
Well, he's aspiring to some other networks right now. He's looking at the ESPN thing, and I don't know. I mean, ESPN really can't compete with us, right, Mike?
It's neck and neck right now. It's too close to call. Gardner under heavy pressure, throws it complete to Owens. He's got some daylight, 40, and nailed at the 45-yard line. Vontrell Mitchell fighting off a block to pop him out of bounds.
So Swani once again off to a quick start here on offense. It's gonna, like I said, Mike, it's gonna be one of those Boston College Miami games from the mid-'80s. Whoever has the ball last is gonna win this game. I have to believe that.
Both teams looking a bit like BYU in the WAC. I'll take these analogies one step further. As Suwannee has a first down and 10 from their own 45-yard line. Just under 11.5 minutes to go in the third quarter of play. Gardner, draw play. Nothing doing. The give to number, can't make out a number on that one actually. Looked like Rodney McClendon, number 44. So it'll bring up a second down and 10 for the Bulldogs.
Big thanks to our spotters in the van on that one, picking up number 44, Rodney McClendon.
Yeah, thank God they're not holding out. Second down, 10 yards to go. The scoreboard operator at Citizens Field must be holding out because it's been first and 10 for the entire game. Willie Gardner rifles one just over the hands of David Lee, but again, that was a catchable pass and another bullet thrown by Willie Gardner.
There's not much you can say, Mike, as far as the accolades go for this young man. Unfortunately, right now, he's down. Must have taken a shot from one of these Buchholz defenders. If I was a Buchholz defense, I'd be a little frustrated right now. Any shot you could get in on Willie Gardner, I would go right at it.
Well, we're getting some more stats thrown to us as a injured man is down there on the field. We'll try to see who that is. It appears to be, it is Willie Gardner. Gardner took a shot earlier in the first half, and hopefully he is okay. I'm sorry, Mark, I kind of missed your injury report there. I don't want you to feel that I'm ignoring you, but our own Jason Alpert relieved himself from temporary sidelining duties in order to give us some key stats here. In the first half, Leon Payne, 8 carries, 124 yards. Ricky Rembert, 8 carries, 128 yards. And of course, we mentioned Willie Gardner, 12 of 16 for 273 yards. Third down and 10. The backup quarterback is number 4. We don't have number 4 on the roster.
Well, let's call him Jim Harbaugh. Is that good for you, Mike? Well, we don't want to discredit the young man.
This guy might have a promising future. We don't want to label him with Jim Harbaugh early on in his career. Oh, just over 10 minutes to go. We're having some fun here tonight. Great game so far, 28-25. The Bobcats leading the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs driving now, but without the services of starting quarterback Willie Gardner. Fumble snap. The Bulldogs recover the football, but on a 4th down and long, that'll turn the ball over to Buchholz.
Well, Mike, you'll have to forgive me. I had no idea it was 4th down and long. Scoreboard operator still absent without leave here at Citizens Field. Big play for Buchholz and a big miscue for Swani. You could definitely see when a new quarterback comes in there, a lot of times there's a lot of mishaps on the quarterback from center exchange.
Well, already Suwannee has lost Todd Fryer as the pitch goes to Rembert around the left-hand side. He picks up about a yard or 2, and Suwannee claiming fumble, but the official immediately steps in and calls it down. You like to see that. He didn't sit there and look confused or confer with anybody. He went in, made the call himself. You gotta love that. I know I do.
I do too, Mike. Seeing the game last night between Palatka and Eastside, those refs, I don't like to discredit these high school refs. I don't want to get into that field of talk, but
we don't want any letters.
No, we do not. But they were some unsure calls going on last night. To put it, nicely.
To put it very nicely. Second down, 10 yards to go for the Bobcats. Johnson gives it off to Rembert. Rembert avoids the first tackler. He avoids the second tackler and finally goes down just short of a first down, and there goes the penalty flag. We'll see what the call is in a minute.
It's another We saw a lot of those late hits last night, but I don't know what happened there.
Number 19, Elijah Green, is limping, the senior defensive back for the Bulldogs. They can't afford to lose any more troops. They already lost their 2 star players, wide receiver Todd Fryer and quarterback Willie Gardner, who left the game with just over 300 yards passing, plus he had a 60-yard bomb called back. He could easily have 360 some odd yards early in the 3rd quarter, but we're not sure if he will come back or not. Certainly, just being a fan of football, we'd love to see him get back in there and make what's been a good game even better so far. 2nd down for the Bobcats. Doug Johnson walks under center, gets the snap, short hitch to R.J. Anderson at the 45, and he goes down to about the 46. So Johnson saw the cushion there on the defensive back was leaving at R.J. Anderson, called the proper play, and it'll set up a 3rd and short for Buchholz.
That's a favorite play of this Buchholz offense. We've seen that a lot this season, Mike, and it's very successful for them. If you can pick up 4 or 5 yards on the little hitch pattern, why don't you go for it? Good call there by the offensive coordinator, Bob Smith.
3rd down and a long 2 for the Bobcats. Doug Johnson calling the signals.
Might go deep here, Mike.
Johnson, it's a draw play to Payne, and he's out to about the 49. That'll be enough for a 1st down.
Well, my Swami skills, I need to rub the crystal ball a little bit more, get the magic touch back.
They're deteriorating a little bit.
Yes,
lately.
I am. Ivan Gatewood outdid me in the Eastside Palatka game, and the opening of this game, you said this was going to be 2 offensive juggernauts duking it out. I think I'm losing that Swami title very quickly.
Well, here's a chance to regain it. Are they going to punt the ball?
I think Brad McCants will not punt the ball.
Oh, we are rapidly losing the Suwannee title right here. As Mark calling for the punt. It was actually a fake, it appeared as.
Actually,
from
I
up
said
here.
not there, Mike. I said not.
Well, you were going to say they were, Mark. Oh, I can't let you lie to the people. It would be in its service to our fans.
We have fans.
We do have fans. You might be losing some as we speak with these calls. And it's a false start on Buchholz, so that'll back them up. They've managed to stay away from the penalty bug pretty well so far tonight.
Yes, they have, and I'm very impressed with the way they've been able to do that. We saw some problems with that earlier in the season, but it looks like the offense is starting to gel, but too bad for them. There's no shot at the playoffs for the Buchholz Bobcats, so just going to have to live with these next 3 games.
So it appears as if they're going to punt it now, and the officials will talk it over, and that'll give us a fine opportunity to speak to Ivan Gatewood. Ivan, tell us what's going on.
Thanks, guys. Willie Gardner is out of this. He's not out of the game, but he just went out for a couple plays because he got hit the crown of his helmet from a Buchholz defender in his chest area. He's having a little problems breathing. Some of the players from the Swani Bulldogs come up to console him, but he guaranteed his teammates he'd come back in the game. Guys?
Well, that's great news, not just for the Suwannee Bulldogs, but just for high school fans in general, as the punt rolls at about the 15-yard line, where Suwannee will take over. And looking for Willie Gardner. I don't see him yet.
Beautiful punt there by Brad McCants. That ball had some nice hang time, traveled about 45 yards. Brad McCants, as always, doing it all for this team.
Oh, between Brad McCants and R.J. Anderson, they might have best pair of kickers around. Both of them looked impressive thus far tonight. As we dip now into under 9 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter of play. Haven't had any points put on the board yet so far in the 3rd quarter. Kind of surprising. We had plenty of them in the 1st half. Handoff to McClendon. Nothing doing.
Arkhill Stark and Gosling in on the tackle.
Arkhill Stark has had many big games. This is the 4th game we've done with Buchholz, and he's come up big in just about every one we've done. But apparently, Mark, Arkhill is not a big fan of the coaching staff of Buchholz right now.
Well, I wouldn't call it that exactly, Mike. Arkhill Stark's a solid player for him, but the coaching staff over there, Buchholz, says that Jeff Carter anchors this team. But Arkell, he's shown a lot of potential in the games we've covered. He's returned an interception for a touchdown against the Gainesville Purple Hurricanes in the Kickoff Classic.
And as we return to live action, Willie Gardner finally is sacked for a big loss, and that'll set up a 3rd down and long.
Jeff Carter there with a sack. I was just talking about Jeff Carter. Defensive coordinator Gunnar Paulson says he's been the most consistent, steady performer for this defense this season. He can play all those positions back there. He's also the fullback, a very versatile athlete for this team, and he's the senior leader on that defense.
So Arkell Stark and Jeff Carter both waking up here in the second half and putting together what they hope to be a fine defensive stand. It'll be 3rd and long. Suwannee taking a lot of time to break out of the huddle, and the officials stop the ball. That'll be a delay of game. So they'll back them up 5 yards further, and Suwannee is quickly finding themselves into a 3rd down and very long. 3rd down, and that's barbecue territory right here, Mark.
That's right, Mike. Of course, Ed's Barbecue, the home of the Cox Cable 8 staff before the game. We've always enjoyed some good eating over there, some goat meat, ribs, that kind of thing.
Great goat meat.
Gotta love goat meat.
Just over 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter of play. Jeff Gardner in at quarterback. Got banged up earlier. He rolls out right, throws it incomplete and almost intercepted by Brad McCants right off his hands. But he couldn't come up with it. It'll bring up a 4th down, and the Buchholz defense for the first time tonight comes up big.
Well, now, Mike, we'll finally get to see what Willie Gardner can do with his leg. He's the punter for this team. He hasn't punted all game because the offense has been so successful. Willie Gardner leading the area with a 42.0 punting average, Mike.
And he also plays defensive back, and of course we've done everything we can to sing his praises at his quarterback spot. Just an incredible athlete, but the punt is blocked, I believe. It looked like number 25 might have gotten a hand on it. Jason Smith was in there. It rolls out, favorable bounce out to about the 43-yard line of Suwannee. So give him about 38 yards on the punt. Buchholz will have good field position here with 4:37 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Willie Gardner with the strong arm, and now we just, not on that punt, but according to his average, the strong leg as well. I don't know what kind of gene pool is in his family, but it's certainly a very credible one.
Indeed, a credible gene pool for Willie Gardner. 1st and 10 for Buchholz. End around to Vontrell Mitchell. Nothing doing. The Suwannee defense not fooled at all. 4 Bulldogs in on the tackle. That'll bring up a 2nd down and long for the Bobcats.
Well, the running game was working early for the Buchholz Bobcats. That play right there, very similar to a play we saw in this, I believe it was the 2nd quarter to Theo Cooper. Trying to get Vontrell Mitchell involved in the offense here. He's a speedster as well.
Well, he had nowhere to go on that play. Great pursuit by the Bulldogs front line. They run a 5-man front. They haven't been very effective so far tonight. Doug Johnson, quarterback sneak, goes around the left-hand side and finally goes down, but before picking up about 8 yards. And Johnson a little fired up right now. Appears to be a little upset also. Maybe got a little bit of a cheap shot under the pile there.
Looked like number 3, Eric Ivy, for these Swani Bulldogs, decided he wanted to step on the Doug Johnson's face mask. Doug didn't take to it very lightly and decided he'd get up and have a few choice words from Mr. Ivy, and I don't blame him.
Well, Doug Johnson will keep his cool here. 3rd down and short for Buchholz. The give is to Rembrandt around the right corner. Avoids one tackler, avoids another, and he's going to be close to a 1st down. It depends where they'll spot the ball. Rembrandt, an ankle tackle there by one of the Bulldogs, stopping him from a big gainer. As we go under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter of play.
Once again, Mike, you're seeing the rotation of running backs here by Buchholz. Ricky Rembrandt comes out, Leon Payne comes right in for this crucial 4th down situation. 4th and short.
4th down and 1. Don't believe the font. Doug Johnson, quarterback sneak, and I think he's got it from this angle.
I believe he does, Mike. He's getting a surge every time they do that quarterback sneak. We've seen it all year. It's getting to be old, actually. We've talked about it, but if you've got a surge from your offensive line and a quarterback, Doug Johnson, who knows where to find the holes, you're going to get yards on that play every single time. And again, that's a credit to the interior offensive line of the Bobcats. Danny Price, Matthew Talbot, and their leader, Shane Goslinga, the junior, all getting some good movement on the offensive line to make that play effective. And it is indeed a first down. As the officials go out there and give the signal. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Buchholz at the 34-yard line of the Bulldogs. Anderson and Cooper lined up wide. Rembrandt is the deep back for the Bobcats. Johnson back to pass. He lobs it up for R.J. Anderson. Caught! A great over-the-shoulder grab by R.J. Anderson, and it might be time to get this kid involved. What a spectacular catch by R.J. Anderson. Kept his eyes on the ball the entire way. Textbook catch by R.J. Anderson. Watch the ball go right over his shoulders, and the ball was put nicely right there in his arms by Doug Johnson. Yeah, we've seen that play before. R.J. Anderson goes 6'3", and he's a great leaper, so they like to just lob it up there and see if he can't come down with it. 1st and 10 for the Bobcats. Theo Cooper in motion. He's on the left-hand side along with R.J. Anderson. Leon Payne the back. The pitch is to Payne out in the right. It's going to be a foot race to the corner. Payne wins the foot race and finally goes out of bounds at about the 5-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and goal. Mike, there you saw Leon Payne turn on the speed. He had 2 tacklers closing in, and he just put on that extra little burst of speed, and the little guy makes something out of nothing on that play. Well, we talk so much about his size, 5 feet, 135 pounds, and also the fact that he can bench press well over 300 pounds, but Leon Payne runs a 4.5 40, and that's very impressive for any size running back. Well, it's nothing to sneeze at. You have some allergies going there, Mark? Well, someone on our staff has some, because I've heard some coughing in these headsets, and it's getting a little annoying. We wish our Jeff McMichael the best there, recovering from a bad cold. Doug Johnson, nowhere to go, but he avoids a tackler, scrambles left, lobs it, and just over the outstretched hands of R.J. Anderson. Doug Johnson did the best he could, but just wasn't good enough, as a little bit too high for R.J. Anderson. And that'll set up a 3rd down and goal as Johnson goes to the sideline to get the call from head coach George Dean. Doug Johnson with his best Fran Tarkenton imitation there, eluding the tacklers. I thought he was going to be pulled down by the big defensive lineman for Swani, but he escapes the tackle and he almost finds R.J. Anderson a little bit too high. Went right beyond the outstretched hands of the 6'3" wide receiver. But I appreciate I like the intensity here by Doug Johnson. He's really in this game right now. He is indeed fired up. Ricky Rembrandt comes into the game. He, along with Payne, compose of the backfield. Anderson and Cooper lined up on the outside. Johnson looking to pass, rifles one in there. It's tipped and tipped again and incomplete. A couple of Bobcats had a chance at it, including Ricky Rembrandt and Ben Bayer, but neither one can come up with it, so it'll set up a 4th and goal from about the 5-yard line. That ball was tipped around several times there, Mike. Ricky Rembrandt with a heads-up play almost comes up with a spectacular juggling grab, but too bad for Buchholz. It's 4th down now, and you have to imagine that they're going to go for the touchdown here, because a field goal is not going to do them any good. It's only going to put them up 6. Well, George Dean burns a timeout to probably, as you said, they probably will go for it, but they want to think of a good play right here. You don't want to rush to get the play off before the 30-second clock expires. A reminder to catch all of the top R&B and jazz videos on Video Visions. Make sure and watch, because we've got the Shabba Ranks contest, where you can win his entire CD collection on Video Visions Friday at 6 o'clock p.m. and Sunday at 2. And Jason Alpert both have the entire CD collection. I might enter that because I have none of his CDs. Then again, I'm not a big fan of his music, so I might not. 4th down and goal for the Buchholz Bobcats. The ball spotted just inside the 5-yard line. Leon Payne and Ricky Rembrandt in the backfield. R.J. Anderson and Theo Cooper lined up at the receiver spot. Johnson rifles one in there, and it is incomplete, intended for Ricky Rembrandt. Rembrandt snuck out of the backfield, but
Suwannee wasn't fooled, and it'll give a first down for the Bulldogs. Let's go down to the field. Our own Jason Alpert's got something for us. Jason, take it away.
Guys, I just talked to Brad McCant, one of Buchholz's linebackers, and asked him what kind of changes they were going to make during the second half after giving up 25 points in that first half. He said this is the first offense they've faced like this, and they knew what they were going to come out with, and they were just learning during the first half. So they're going to keep everything the same, hopefully get some more the coverages down a little better, and hopefully hold them to a few more points this half. Guys?
Thank you, Jason. Will be pretty hard to not hold them to less points in the first half. They gave up 25. Incomplete pass intended for Chad Day. Willie Gardner put that one right on the money. Day just couldn't come up with it. Very unique throwing motion by Mr. Gardner. A rifle release, doesn't waste any time. It just has a short hitch and just throws it right in there. A very pretty spiral.
Well, it looks very natural, though, Mike, the way he throws the ball. It works for him, and he just rears back. It looks like, you know, he hasn't had a lesson in mechanics in his life. It just seems natural to him. He just heaves the ball, so to speak.
I get the feeling many coaches have been told just not to toy around with this kid's release, because it's been working very effectively. Rifles another one in there. This one is complete. Rico Ellis on the reception. He'll be close to a first down. Ellis, one of a handful of receivers to catch a ball tonight. Again, as we mentioned earlier, their star wideout, Todd Fryer, was hurt early on in the first quarter after scoring a touchdown and will not return for tonight's ball game.
Well, Mike, we played up that big matchup between R.J. Anderson and Todd Fryer, but so far it's been the Doug Johnson to R.J. Anderson show as far as the competition with Todd Fryer goes.
Third down and short for Suwannee, and it appears as if they have the first down. Looked like 44, Rodney McClendon on the carry, and he did indeed get the first down as the chain gang will continue their fine workout tonight. 55 seconds and counting left to go in the third quarter of play. We haven't had a point put on the board, surprisingly enough, in the third quarter. Our score is still 28-25. Gardner, shotgun formation. He's got heavy pressure. Rifles one in there, and it is incomplete. They say the ball hit the ground. David Lee thinks otherwise, but it won't matter. It'll set up a second down and 10.
Well, Mike, too bad we don't have the Jumbotron here at Citizens Field. Maybe we need to write the commissioners and see if they can't do something about that, but that looked very close to me. Willie Gardner gunned that in there. We've said the word gun many times tonight, and I keep catching myself say it, but I really can't think of a better adjective than the way that ball shoots out of his hands.
Well, first things first, Mark. Before we get the Jumbotron, we want to get that scoreboard going. Shotgun formation, second down and 10 for the Bulldogs. Gardner rifles one complete to Owens. No, they're going to say it's incomplete, and it's a good thing because Arkhill Stark would have had 6 points if it wasn't.
Jeff Carter with a nasty hit there on Tony Owens. Owens had to be feeling the footsteps of Jeff Carter. Carter came in there and just leveled him. Made no mistake about it. Came in there, and then he had a few choice words for Owens. Maybe Owens will think twice about coming out of the backfield for receptions now.
Well, the hit by Carter sets up a third down and 10 for Suwannee. They haven't had to reach third down many times tonight. This will be one of the few third down conversion possibilities right here. Gardner back to pass. Throws it short, and interesting maneuver there. That'll be well short of a first down. The pass is complete to Rico Ellis, but really got to question that one there. He wasn't under much pressure and threw it underneath, and that'll be about 7 or 8 yards short of a first down here as we go to fourth down.
Got to kind of question that, Mike, because not only was Rico Ellis running the short pattern, but several other receivers were not even, I mean, they were very close to the first down marker, but you always tell your receivers to go to the first down marker so they can make a catch for that, to keep the drive going.
Well, that'll close out the third quarter of play. Surprisingly enough, it's goose eggs in the third. Our score is still the Buchholz Bobcats 28, the Suwannee Bulldogs 25. Fourth quarter of play. Willie Gardner just punted the ball for the Bulldogs, and it was a good one. Under heavy pursuit by the Bobcat special teamers. It rolls out of bounds at about the 29-yard line where Buchholz will take over. First and 10 11:49 to go in the ball game. 28-25 is our score.
Well, that's not going to hurt Willie Gardner's average. 51-yard punt to add to his already ballooning average of 42.0. I don't know why I say the 0. Let's just call it 42, but maybe he has some helium in those balls, a la Terry McDaniel over there at Auburn.
Of course, that hasn't been confirmed yet, but heavy rumors still around. Ricky Rembert bobbles the ball, and it's picked up by number 6, Andre Davis. Davis has a touchdown for the Bulldogs. Unbelievable.
Mike, what was an offensive battle looks like it's going to turn to the defense, whoever makes the least amount of turnovers. Ricky Rembert never got a good handle on that pitch. He was bobbling it all the way up to the line of scrimmage, lost control of it, and Andre Davis just picked it up and rambled in for the score. That was a gift-wrap score for the Suwannee Bulldogs, if you ask me.
Gift-wrapped indeed. Andre Davis was just doing his job as a linebacker, watching the play, saw the ball scoot loose on the left-hand side, picked it up, and it was smooth sailing from there. As Suwannee now up 31-28, and they're going to go for 2 right here. Gardner, shotgun formation. Steps back, under pressure. Rifles one, and it's caught. 2 points for the Bulldogs. Tony Owens on the reception.
Well, Mike, now they're 1 for 4 on 2-point conversions, and that's a big one. That's a big one for them.
Indeed, that puts them up now 33-28. So a field goal will not tie it. Buchholz will have to get a touchdown to get back into this one.
Well, Mike, actually my math's a little off, both of ours. I really don't understand that move. Actually, all they really needed was the point after kick, and it would have only been 32-28. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right, Mark. Our math was off on that one,
but so was Mike Pittman's math,
so
coach
was Mike
for Swani Bulldogs. So hey,
if his math is off, then what the heck, our math can be off too, right? Hey, 33-28, our score.
Unless there's a 5-point play we don't know about.
There might be if it's a Colorado game and a Big 8 official. Oh, you never know. We've seen everything else in this game so far. It's been very exciting here on a cool and chilly night here at Citizens Field. The rains have stopped. Here comes the kickoff from the Bulldogs. A squibber, and it's going to roll out of bounds. Rembert watches it sail there, and Buchholz will take over at the 35-yard line. You know, watching that kick reminded me of the old Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mark.
Buccaneers, man, they have such a great tradition. You can understand why Jason Alpert is such a big fan of them.
Jason Alpert, a huge fan of the Buccaneers. And, you know, our crack staff has conducted some fine highlights of the history of the Buccaneers. You know, of course, they've had so many great moments there in Tampa Bay. Here's my favorite first, the high snap on the field goal kicker. Now, let's see, what is he going to do? He's going to kick it, right? No, not cool. We have more. It just got uglier and uglier. There you go. Doug Williams, a fine quarterback. Boy, if you could see Jason Alpert's face right now. A huge, die-hard Buccaneer fan.
Well, you know, Jason Alpert, not something you want to go and tell your friends that you're a Buccaneers fan, but hey, he stuck with them through the good and the, well, actually the bad and the bad. And hey, you gotta like that in a die-hard fan. There you see Jason right now. He's contemplating the next Buccaneers terrible draft choice that they will make.
Trying to think where he can get those Super Bowl tickets in the year 3000.
Well, Tampa's hosted a few Super Bowls, but
they have indeed, but unfortunately the Buccaneers haven't played in any of them. Ricky Rembert on the carry, gain of a couple. It'll set up a 3rd down and 8. But one thing about a Buccaneer fan, you can't accuse them of being a fair weather fan, that's for sure.
No, you can. Of course, here on Cox Cable 8, we talked about the Buccaneers last week, and you went on and on about your favorite video, and hey, quality programming we provided for our audience the next week. Not like they really asked to see some Bucs highlights or lack thereof, but hey, we gave it to you here on Cox Cable.
Our crack staff once again on the ball. Third down and 8. Doug Johnson back to pass. Under heavy pursuit, and he is sacked. Number 6, Andre Davis. He returned the fumble for the touchdown. Now he picks up a big sack, and a Buchholz Bobcat is down. That's number 76, Fan Zhang, a possible member of our all-name team, but he's not concerned about that right now.
Actually, down there on the field, I know it's hard to see the numbers, Mike, but that's Jocelyn Edinger.
Is that 76 or 78? Mark, I might have to rebut you there. It is, in fact, number 76, Fan Zhang.
You have rebutted me.
I've been wanting to do that for quite some time. You've had a few comments about my eyesight, but I brought the contacts tonight, and I don't mind telling you, I was right on that one.
Well, thank God you didn't bring the old taped-up glasses. That's a Rocky Horror Picture Show when you wear those jokers.
Well, there you see Coach Schwartz-Dean. Hey, a reminder, it's election time. So see who the front runners are on Politically Speaking with Fred Schilfarth, Sunday at 11 a.m. on Cox Cable 8. Having a lot of fun tonight.
To laugh is to live. To live is to laugh.
Indeed.
There is a ball game going on, folks.
Brad McCant's the punter. You see, look at the return man. He doesn't have the ball yet, but he's about to get it. The punt takes a bad bounce. It'll be spotted at the 39-yard line for the Bobcats, who trail 33-28 with 9:24 remaining in the ball game.
Well, Swanee's going to have a chance here to move the ball down and put Buchholz out of striking distance. While we've talked and amused ourselves a little bit up here, there's only 9 minutes and 24 seconds left in the game, so this drive is crucial for both teams. Buchholz needs a defensive stop right here.
First down and 10 for the Bulldogs. Willie Gardner still in at the quarterback spot. He's already thrown for close to 400 yards tonight. The give is to Owens, the fullback. He scrambles for about a couple. It'll bring up a second down and 8.
Buchholz seems like they've really clogged up those passing lanes as well as the running lanes for the Suwannee Bulldogs. Looks like Gunnar Paulson, the defensive coordinator for Buchholz, made some adjustments at halftime and fired up his defensive troops, and they've come out here with a very good effort in the second half. They've held Suwannee to only 1 touchdown.
Well, I'm sure adjustments were being made by both defensive coordinators at the half, and they've settled things down here. Fumble on snap, wisely picked up there by the tailback, Robert Scott. Scott saw the ball bounce and didn't waste any time to pick it up and run. Probably should have fell on it, but no complaints from the Suwannee sideline. They're just happy to have it back. It'll bring up a third down and long for the Bulldogs.
Well, Mike, the reporters here at Cox Cable are not the ones that you'd want putting together a fundamentals of football video, but what we've been saying all year, you know, you try to make the highlight film and pick up those loose balls, but in a game like this in the fourth quarter with time running down, you just want to follow on it.
But of course, everybody wants to make our postseason show the plays of the year, and they all try to oblige by picking up the fumbles. Another rifle, and it's picked off by Derek Harris. And you know he'll have a few things to say about that. Not very camera shy is Mr. Harris. Willie Gardner tried to rifle one in there again, but just not enough separation by the receiver for him to make a play on the ball. Derek Harris, a fine grab and a big turnover for the Bobcats.
Big play there by Derek Harris. You know, the Florida-Auburn game, Terry Bowden gave a call to his daddy, Bobby Bowden, at halftime. Maybe Derek gave a call to brother Mike Harris at halftime. Said, how do you defend Willie Gardner? He said, well, just stay back there and pick off some passes. It's pretty simple.
The phone lines are busy here at Citizens Field. First down and 10. Doug Johnson pitches it right to Leon Payne. Payne waiting for his blocks patiently and picks up a gain of about 9 yards. Took a little bit of a late shot there, but no penalty flag on the play. It'll bring up a second down and 1.
It's amazing how much punishment Leon Payne takes, and he gets right back up. You know, these guys for Swani, it seems like every team every week, they're like Leon Payne, you know, he's 5 foot tall. Let's abuse the little kid, but hey, he jumps back up after every play and sticks it to him.
Second down, 1 yard to go, under 7 minutes remaining here in the ball game. Johnson lifts the towel behind center and goes back looking deep for 3-0 Cooper, but Cooper is covered pretty well on the play by Joe Combs, the defensive back for the Bulldogs. It'll set up a 3rd down and 1. You got to like that play call, though, on a 2nd and 1. You go for the deep bomb. If not, you don't get it. You still got another down to pick up that yard.
But that has to be one of the more favorite plays of offensive coordinators. When you have 2nd and 1, you have an opportunity to do so many things. Why not pass the ball?
Well, it's 3rd and 1 now. So the opportunities are a little bit more limited. Johnson, he's going to pass the ball again. He's got an open man, but it's incomplete. Intended for Jeff Carter. That ball was a little bit off the mark. So it'll set up a 4th and 1 now. And at their own 35, this is actually a very big play, because if they can't get it right here, Suwannee takes over an excellent field position and could put it away with another touchdown.
Well, Mike, you know what's coming right now. I mean, unless Swani made an adjustment at halftime, we both know what's coming, the quarterback sneak. But, you know, I've been wrong before. But it's been working for him all night, so I would advise him to do it.
Well, there you have it. Mark calling in the play, and Doug Johnson adheres the call by our own Mark Overstreet and picks up the 1st down. A big play for the Bobcats as they'll try to keep this drive going with 6:24 left in the ball game.
Like we said, a very good play for the Buchholz Bobcats. It always picks up yards for them and gains me a little bit of respectability back on my Swami skills. I think I had an empty stomach there going into the half and ate a couple hot dogs and got the Swami skills right back.
Yeah, indeed you do need a couple of hot dogs, and frankly there have been some strange noises here in the booth. Don't want to comment on what they are. Johnson gives it off to Payne, big hole, breaks a tackle at the 45, out to the 50, the 40, the 35, 30, 25, 20, and finally out of bounds. Big play by the little man, Leon Payne. Whew.
That's just what Buchholz needed on that play right there. Leon Payne breaking tackles, picking up some blocks downfield, showing you the great speed that makes him gives him that 10.2. That's a very, very lofty average per carry. I think he just boosted it there a couple percentage points, Mike.
Indeed, that 10.2 will increase after tonight. And Payne's going to take a breather. They don't lose much, though. They got Ricky Rembert coming in. The give is to Rembert up the middle. He picks up about 4 yards. The offensive line now really developing a good surge. Some holes there for the Buchholz tailbacks. Again, Danny Price, Matthew Talbot, Shane Goslinga, Brian McGinnis, and Mickey Johnson on the ends, and they've done a fine job tonight opening up holes for the Buchholz ground game.
Well, if I'm Buchholz right here, you might want to go to a short hitch pass to R.J. Anderson, but you want him to stay in bounds because they need to run out this clock. They don't want to give the ball back in the hands of Willie Gardner. They have to score first, Mike.
Anderson is lined up wide left. He has single coverage, but instead the give is to Leon. Make that Ricky Rembert. Rembert about 7 inches taller. And he picks up a couple of yards. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 8.
Maybe we do need to pull out those glasses, Mike. I'll just put on a blindfold.
Oh. After that last remark, Mark, I don't think I'll ever be the same. I kind of scarred me for life there wearing those glasses. So,
well, I know you have a lot of friends listening, so just tell them to mute it whenever they watch the replay.
Well, I don't know if muting the television set will stop them from seeing me, but interesting audio visual by Mark Overstreet. Keeper by Doug Johnson on 3rd and short. It'll set up a 4th down and an official timeout.
Buchholz has to be very careful right here to call the correct plays. Swani now has to be expecting that quarterback dive. And looks like they've brought up a 4th down situation unless they get a good mark right here. But We'll see what the illustrious chain gang has to say.
Well, they have been illustrious tonight, especially when Suwannee has had the ball. It's 4th down and inches for the Bobcats with 4:25 remaining. A field goal doesn't do that much good right here, so the Bobcats are going to go for it.
Well, again, I think we both know what's coming. Buchholz might try to throw them off and not do the quarterback sneak, but once again, they're going to need that surge from the offensive line. Those big boys up front are the key on this play.
Well, we'll see if Suwannee tries to cheat a little bit. They got both their linebackers waiting to blitz up the middle, and I don't know if he got it. They read that play all the way, and it's going to be very close. As always, it'll depend on the spot.
It's tough to tell from this angle, Mike. Of course, you don't want to put the ball out there where Swani can get it, but if I'm Doug Johnson, I try to extend the ball out a little bit.
So the chain gang will get another look here. Really no way of telling from here, but you can tell by the Suwannee reaction, they did indeed stop them short, and a huge defensive stand by the Suwannee Bulldogs. They knew what was coming. They blitzed the interior linebackers up the middle, and Doug Johnson, that play has worked all year, but it didn't work there. And with 4 minutes and 3 seconds to go, Suwannee will see if they can run this baby out.
Well, Mike, that was such a crucial play. You have to wonder why Doug Johnson, he's made some good adjustments in this game, but right there was a good time to call a timeout. It's a very important situation for them. Maybe he should have called a timeout and called a different play because they had that middle stuffed.
1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. It's given to Owens around the right-hand side. He picks up a couple. It'll bring up 2nd down and 8. Let's go down to the field. Our own Jason Alpert's got something for us. Jason, take it away.
You saw earlier Buchholz star offensive lineman Fan Zhang, the big 6'2", 220-pound senior, go down with an injury. He's strained some ligaments in his knee. He's not coming back tonight. They're going to look at it again after the game. He threw his helmet in disgust when he heard that he wasn't coming back. He obviously wants to be in this game.
Okay, thanks, Jason, for that injury report. Of course, we've had a few guys go down tonight. Handoff is to McClendon, breaks a tackle, and goes down at about the 34-yard line. Big play right there. That'll move the chains and give Suwannee another 4 downs to deal with, as Buchholz will have 2 battles going here, one against the Bulldogs and one against the clock, with just 3 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the ball game, trailing by 5.
Mike, I'm not exactly sure how many timeouts the Buchholz Bobcats have here, but I know they don't have 3. They used one earlier in the game to set up their last touchdown. So, actually, not their last touchdown, but on their last drive, they used one. So, they either have 2 or 1 right here.
As you take a look at the scoreboard, it's getting down to crunch time. McClendon puts his head down and picks up a couple. You can see the Buchholz defenders there trying to strip the ball away. They need a big play right here. It's 2nd down and long, and timeout on the field.
Mike, this is a situation where you need to get guys like Shane Goslinga, Jeff Carter to go up there. Those are your key guys on defense on that interior line in the linebacker area. They need to come up there and try to strip that ball out of McClendon's hands, maybe Owens' hands. They need to make something happen right here.
And a reminder, for the best in alternative videos, watch Ground Zero Sundays at 10:30 p.m. and Thursdays at 10 o'clock p.m. for the Bulldogs here. Gardner gives it off to McClendon. Break tackle there, breaks another tackle, and he's got a lot of room. 40, 35, 30, and finally dragged down at the 27-yard line by Mike Harris. And oh boy, 44, Brad McCants had him wrapped up, but a great second effort there by McClendon and a big play for the Bulldogs.
Well, Mike, to use another cliche, we could say that was the nail in the coffin. Buchholz, I believe, has no timeouts left. Swani has the ball now with just over 2 minutes left. They can grind it out right here. Goslinga had him there. He could have pulled him down.
Well, actually, McCants was the
on the tackle there.
The guy who had both arms around him, but McClendon, very strong back, and just fought him off. The 190-pound senior who gets the carry once again, but nothing doing that time. It'll set up a 2nd down and 10, and timeout on the play called by Buchholz.
Well, Mike, I have to go back to that play when Buchholz had the ball, and it was that 4th down situation in the red zone. Doug Johnson trying to sneak over right guard for that 1st down. You had to see that those linebackers were up there blitzing, clogging the hole. You know, you need to call a timeout. You know, like they say, you don't carry your timeouts with you into the next game. You got to use them. And that's an important situation where they needed to go with a timeout.
And as we have a timeout on the field, a reminder to catch the #1 rap show right here on Cox Cable 8. It's 9 yards to go for the Bulldogs, and a good tackle right there by Mr. Harris. Otherwise, McClendon is in the end zone.
He'd still be running, Mike, if it wasn't for that sure-handed tackle of Derek Harris. Derek Harris came out here to play tonight, and he's shown us a lot. He's only a junior, so he still has time to improve.
Great coverage, man, and putting on a key hit right there. It's 3rd down right here with 1:20 to go. The clock counting, and Buchholz with no timeouts left, so got to stop him right here on 3rd and 5. Gardner fake pitches it, takes it himself, eludes a couple of tacklers, still on his feet, and finally goes down at about the 5-yard line, where it'll be a 1st down with 1 minute to go. And that, as you said, Mark, may very well be the nail in the coffin.
Yes, it is, Mike. Buchholz out of timeouts. 1 minute left. Great effort by both teams in this game. Very exciting.
But our player of the game, as you see, a Suwannee Bulldog walking off the field, and that's not good news. That's Willie Gardner. He's been banged up a couple of times tonight, has showed incredible perseverance. But
in a backup quarterback last time.
39 seconds left to go, and
the Harbaugh is going to kneel on it.
We'll call him Harbaugh. Why not? Just like they did the Buccaneer video. Well, this one is history. The Suwannee Bulldogs improved to 7-1. We'll see if we can get some words from him after the game.
Buchholz was able to come back and make it a close game. What did it take from your team deep down inside to pull you guys ahead in the end?
Well, you know, it was like a racetrack here in the 1st quarter. You know, and Georgia's got a great football team. Leon Payne's a great running back, you know, and they had a lot of quickness. But we came out and played good defense the 2nd half. We bend a lot, but we didn't break. And, you know, that's a real characteristic of our football team. They play with a lot of heart. They play with a lot of character. And, you know, they're not the greatest football players in the world, but they play hard. And that's probably what pulled us through.
Willie Gardner had a phenomenal game tonight, over 400 yards passing. He's only a junior. How good can he be?
Willie's a gifted athlete. He really is. He's a great athlete. Threw the ball well tonight, and you know, receivers caught the ball real well. So you know, he can be as good as he wants to be.
You've got 2 district games left to close out the season. With those 2 games in the playoffs, how far can this team go? You're 7-1 now.
They're going to go a ways, I believe. You know, we've had better teams here, but this team's a little bit special. They're real together. They play hard. They're not the most talented bunch we've had, but you know, with a little bit of luck, they can go away.
Coach, congratulations on a fine victory. Now we're going to send it back to Mike for some post-game comments.
There in the 3rd quarter, that was the only scoring we saw in the 2nd half. That recovery was made by Andre Davis. He just picked up the Ricky Rimmert miscue and ran in. And
perhaps in the 50s, like we saw with Buchholz.
The teams that they've lost to have a combined 27-2 record if you include the Suwannee Bulldogs here tonight. So they've just run into a buzzsaw of a schedule. But
well, we hope you've enjoyed the double header here on Cox Cable 8. 33-28 is our final score. The Suwannee Bulldogs a winner over the Buchholz Bobcats. For my color man Mark Overstreet, sideline reporters